the rant hole where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by becoming one of those people. And this one comes from Ben Zed, who wants me to rant about Super Smash Brothers Melee in particular, though he said I could rant about any of them if that wasn't enough. Man, of course Melee is enough. I played enough Melee in my motherfucking day. Super Smash Bros. Melee was hype for me the day it came out, because I was already playing the N64 game way back in the 90s. I grew up in a three brothers household with friends frequently over, so multiplayer games were the main thing that that we were going to focus on, and Super Smash Bros. Was the ultimate multiplayer game. It's 4 players, it's got all these recognizable characters. I'm a huge Pokemon fan, so having Pikachu in there was a big deal. Link also, because I love Legend of Zelda. And eventually I came to love all the Nintendo properties. I didn't know most of them at the time. I think I learned most Nintendo characters from Super Smash Bros. So my first console was an N64. But anyways, when the GameCube was launching, mega hype about Super Smash Bros. Melee. The textures, man. The texture on Mario's overalls was so realistic. I couldn't believe it. I bought into all the Nintendo Power hype because I was a huge reader of the magazine. And when the game finally came out, man, that was the main thing we used our GameCube for a long while. We got Melee and Pikmin got maybe 3 hours of play ever, and Melee got hundreds. So we had the strategy guide at the time, and for me, I always considered it, and maybe this is just because of this strategy guide in this game, to me the idea of beating a fighting game used to mean unlocking all the characters, because the way Smash was set up was that you could either unlock the characters by the amount of runtime you had the game on. I think if you played for 20 hours, you would get everybody, but otherwise, to get everyone, you had to do everything. So it was you wanted to play through the game over and over again and do all the different challenges and shit because you could unlock all these characters. A lot of them were interesting and mysterious and from, older parts of Nintendo history I didn't even know about, like the Game & Watch. I never fucking heard of that shit before Mr. Game & Watch. I was like, what is this madness? But, yeah, there's all kinds of great things. When I think about Melee, I can picture every screen in the game. I can hear the music. It's so deeply ingrained into my psyche from having played it for more than half of my life at this point. The game came out in 2001, I think. So, yeah, it's pretty well firmly lodged into my skull. As for actually playing the game, I think, because I mained Pikachu in the original Smash, I don't remember if I mained him at first in Melee. It was a while before I really discovered a character who I was going to play all the time, I think I played Pikachu for the most part, but, and my brother played Yoshi, and my cousin would play Samus, and that was usually, the lineup, because my cousin would come over all the time, and we would just free-for-all fight Samus, Yoshi, Pikachu all the time. And we always chose Corneria, because it's the flattest stage, and it's so big that it was fun to, especially as Samus, to, run off down to the lower part and charge her beam and come back into the fight and stuff, or have, 2 separate fights happening on the 2 different sections of the level, depending on how many players you've got, Even from back then, I think we were generally, lean towards items off. Or as soon as we heard that you could turn off items, it was oh, well, that's gone. I don't think they're fun. I don't think the items make the game fun. Maybe a couple of them, maybe Pokeballs, but generally the items are not that fun. But we played it pretty continuously. We would just swap between single player and multiplayer all the time. Eventually, I don't remember how, I ended up getting into Samus. And once I got into playing Samus, there was no turning back. Samus is my main, always has been. The way I play is sort of a switch-up style where I'm always just jumping around like a fucking asshole and dropping bombs. I like to leave bombs in my wake. I like to jump around and just, drop little pellets behind me to sort of keep people from following me. And fire missiles, jump around, just shoot missiles all the time until I can go charge up my beam somewhere and kill somebody with that. Because nothing's more satisfying than killing people with Samus's fully charged beam. Because you have to be a fucking moron. You know, like, it's so easy to prevent the charging of, and so easy to avoid the firing of, but almost not a match goes by that I don't manage to kill somebody with that fucking move, because, you know, if you can fuck with people hard enough and keep them off your back while you charge it, and then hit them with it when they don't expect it, because, like, Samus's movement for firing the beam is very similar to her movement for firing missiles, and a lot of people will just assume you're doing that, you know, and, like, try to deflect your missile, and it ends up being something with a different speed. It's just, like, all about mind games for me, playing Samus. It's all about running around and fucking with the opponent, and the switch-up game, and trying to be as unpredictable as possible. But if you can predict me, I'm fucking done. You know, like, I'm by no means a great melee player. And, frankly, at this point, I'm pretty sick of it, because, so a few years back, my friends got really into Melee, and it kind of started around when the Smash doc came out, because my friend Brandon Tolentino, he had watched the Smash doc like several times, was fascinated with it, ended up becoming a, you know, like getting into the community. I almost said becoming a part, but he's not a known figure or anything. He just, you know, reads a lot of online shit and was following all the tournaments and all the meta and all the lore. You know, he introduced me to some of the players and shit, and I've seen the Smash doc, which I've heard lots of people say that it's not super representative of everything and the whole truth. I mean, whatever. It's a documentary. That's what happens. Like, they have a limited amount of time to give you a limited amount of information. But, you know, it's a good starting point for learning about not only competitive Melee, but just, like, what the competitive fighting game scene is. Like, I think that movie taught me more about how esports works and what the communities are like and how these events get organized and who participates than I had learned from anywhere else. So it's a great introduction to esports in general, especially in the same way that Melee is a great introduction to fighting games, because it has all these recognizable characters. It's more of a fun, and, like, while it is extremely technical at a high level, it's not the same kind of technical. Like, it's not just watching two people try to input the best possible combo in Street Fighter. It's more of a sprawling, unpredictable mess of a game, you know? So when you watch it, there's a way less, well, not that it's not that, like, Street Fighter is predictable, like, who's gonna win right from the start, but it's like, you know, what even is going to transpire in a match can be completely, can completely blow you away in Melee. So, you know, my friends got into the competitive scene, and then Tolentino, who was really good, would play with my brother Victor basically all the time. Like, there was one summer where they just played Smash all summer on a CRT in the living room, and, you know, it was always Ness and Roy, because those are their mains, who are both, like, worthless on a competitive level, which is that's kind of the tragic irony of Smash, is that, yes, it's a really interesting game, but, like, if you're getting into it competitively, it always boils down to the same couple of characters, you know? Like, because the game is so badly balanced as a fighting game, it doesn't, you know, allow for that kind of expressiveness with your character choices. And, like, when we would play Project M, Tolentino with Ness could have probably been a competitive player. Like, he was unfucking stoppable. I couldn't, you know, he would kill all my stocks without losing one all the time. Like, and I'm not terrible at Smash. You know, I've been playing it for a very long time. I've been playing the same character for a long time. I have my tactics. If I play against people who aren't trying to master the fucking game, who don't play it all the time, I usually win. I'm better than, well, I was better than Victor before he started training. I'm better than most of the people I know, you know, but if anybody's taking the game seriously, they are going to wipe the floor with me, and Tolentino would just make me feel as if I was, you know, completely helpless. But because of the fact that Project M shut down, he couldn't really main Ness, you know, in a competitive capacity. The newer games aren't as much fun to play in a competitive capacity, and Street Fighter V came out, he just completely converted to Street Fighter, and basically, you know, the Smash bug kind of died, especially because of the fact that Smash is so shit on like r/Kappa and, like, amongst all the rest of the fighting game community that, you know, it's hard to be, like, an out Smash fan in the fighting game community to some extent. But anyway, you know, I haven't really kept up with it. I watch occasionally a match here and there. You know, I was really happy to watch Hungrybox actually take a championship with Jigglypuff, because, like, just shaking up the meta in any way is always welcome. You know, knowing that you don't have to play, you know, one of these other characters in order to win is gratifying. I know a lot of people hate the way he plays Puff, but to me, the point of it is not about playing. It's about proving a point. It's just about proving that it can be done, you know, and that's why I find it so impressive. But my favorite Smash player by far is Hugs, and I haven't even really watched like any of his matches, but I follow him on YouTube, and he's fucking hilarious and a great guy. So, and he plays Samus, most importantly. So yeah, that's basically my rounded up thoughts on Melee. I don't want to go into a crazy amount of depth here, but I do plan to eventually make a full review of the game as part of the GameCube Forever series on IM Games. I did promise I would review every GameCube game over the course of the next 35 years, so Melee is one of them.